Hey there everyone, and welcome back to Kastology, the show hosted by yours truly where I look into obscure things and other things I like, either to try and give a new perspective to it, or to bring more awareness to it. GameMaker. What a terrible program. And that's exactly why I use it. If you're familiar with me, I think it's a well-known fact that I make Sonic fan games, and that I am working on my very own indie game. And the program that I use to make these games is GameMaker Studio. Last year, I happened to stumble upon a GameMaker Iceberg on Twitter made by the user Zach Benak on Twitter. So, as a GameMaker user, I found the topic super interesting and informative, so I've decided to compile everything I've learned from the research I did in order to make a video about this whole thing. The video will be split into 6 tiers, as that's how many there are in the iceberg. But, without further ado, let's get into it. Sean Spalding Platformer Tutorial. This is a series of tutorials made by Sean Spalding for GameMaker Studio 1 and 2, designed for beginners, which probably explains why it's so high on the iceberg. Most people looking to get into GameMaker will probably see this as their first result when doing some research into it. Yo-Yo Sandbox. This was an old website Yo-Yo Games, the creators of GameMaker, had put up in 2007 to host games made by the community in GameMaker. People could post games, rate them, comment, upload images of the games, etc. It was honestly pretty good. However, in 2015, Yo-Yo Games revealed they had created the GameMaker player system, which would work like Steam and allow players to download games more easily. The sandbox officially closed on the 8th of April 2016. Although, if you do want to visit the site nowadays, it's still possible. You can just find about every game on the Wayback Machine. It's a real shame they removed it. I remember browsing it a lot when I was a kid. Mark Overmars. Marcus Hendrik Overmars, or for short, Mark Overmars, is Mark Overmars is a Dutch computer scientist and game programming teacher. He was the former head of the Center for Geometry, Imaging, and Virtual Environment. Wait, what's that? This is completely unrelated to GameMaker. Well, that's where you're wrong, kiddo. He is the main person behind GameMaker. This guy is the god of GameMaker. And yeah, that's about it. He kept developing the software until 2007, when Yo-Yo Games came around and bought the rights to it from him. Yal and GM Live. Yal, or Yellow Afterlife, is a programmer from Ukraine, and also the developer of many other tools for GameMaker, and is pretty much a GML expert. I think this image should show you at least how many tools he developed for GameMaker. SFGML, GMEdit, GML Live, and I could go on. We're mainly here for GML Live. Basically, GML Live is an extension for GameMaker Studio 1 and GameMaker Studio 2, which introduces interactive programming. It allows you to reload chosen scripts for events mid-game when they're changed and saved from the editor itself, without having to recompile and restart the game. It's extremely useful and saves a lot of time. If you do want it though, it's $29. Undertale. I'm pretty sure everyone knows what Undertale is, but not many people know that both Undertale and Deltarune were made in GameMaker Studio. If you have the game, check the games folder. You'll be able to find a dated.win file, which is a sign that the game was made in GMS. Same thing for Deltarune. Hotline Miami. Hotline Miami is a top-down shooter made by Denathan Games, which released for Windows in October of 2012. It's only really on this iceberg because it was developed in GameMaker 7. Even then, the console ports run on Fire Engine. Loading. Please wait. This is the text written on the default loading screen of every game made in GameMaker, prior to GMS. I'm not actually sure if there's any sort of history behind it, but the more I look at it, the more it starts to look a bit ominous to me. While trying to take a good picture of this loading screen, I realize that it doesn't even appear when I take a screenshot of it on my screen. Smile logo. The Smile logo refers to the original GameMaker 8 logo, which was made by Albert Zak. It was made for a competition held by Yo-Yo Games, where you could win $250. It genuinely looks horrible, and I don't understand how they even thought to pick this atrocity out of all the logos. I mean, there's a good concept with the gear there and all, but why is there a Nahegawa smiley face in there? Anyways, they replaced it with a much better looking and better fitting logo after. And it kept being used until GameMaker Studio came and they changed the logo to match with Yo-Yo Games' logo. Funnily enough, they've always used the green gear logo for GameMaker 8. and early builds still had the red ball and hammer logo. Catch the Clown. Catch the Clown is one of the tutorial games that came with GameMaker. It's been around for a while and it's been pretty much included with every version of GameMaker as far as I know. But if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments. I honestly have no idea why it's here though, besides maybe the fact that the clown sprite looks kinda creepy. Actually, there is one thing I've noticed. It's that no matter what I do, I can't actually find the tutorial files for it in any of my copies of GameMaker. Spelunky. Spelunky Classic was the original version of the indie game Spelunky, made before the HD release by DirectU, Spelunky designer, as a passion project. It's probably on the Iceberg because it was developed with GameMaker. Lost Forums. This probably refers to the original legacy GameMaker forums, which were built for Mark Overmars' personal forum from before Yo-Yo Games owned it. These forums were replaced around 2018 with newer ones. They ended up getting shut down recently. The old forums used to be archived somewhere, until sometime where they just got deleted altogether and fully replaced by the Yo-Yo Games forum. Playtech. Playtech is an online gambling casino, which, for some reason, owns Yo-Yo Games since 2015. We were sold to them for $16.4 million. Apparently, the reason for acquiring Yo-Yo is that it was part of their strategy to penetrate the casual gaming space, whatever that means. They did nothing with it. When I originally wrote this section, they own Yo-Yo Games but now Opera Software. The guys behind the best browser of all time, not sponsored, have bought Yo-Yo Games along with GameMaker. EG? EG is basically a 2008 platform shooter Metroidvania thing made by Daniel Remar in GameMaker. I was going to say it doesn't have much to talk about, but if you read the Wikipedia article, it says that the original version used version 5.3.8 of GameMaker Studio, which makes no damn sense considering GameMaker Studio wasn't a thing in 2008. Crime Life 2. Crime Life 2 is one of the main Yo-Yo legends. We'll be going back to this later in the Iceberg. It's a fully 3D GTA clone made by SoniKast in GameMaker in 2012. It's honestly very impressive and I don't think I've ever seen anything like it be done in GameMaker. Honestly, it really looks like a PS1 game. Cyclus. Cyclus is an indie platformer game made in GameMaker 5 from 2003. It's become fairly obscure since then. I don't think there's anything particularly remarkable about it. BBGGRR. In short, instead of being in an RRGGBB format, colors in GML are in BBGGRR format. Why?
I don't know!
GameMaker blog. The GameMaker blog is basically an unofficial blog about GameMaker. They post about GameMaker news and stuff related to it. Double precision floating point. I have no idea what this is in terms of GML, that is. What we think is that maybe they mean that maybe regular floats are double precision value already? Or maybe there's just no double precision floats in GML? Delphi. Delphi is the programming language in which the first versions of GameMaker itself were written in. When 100 GameMaker games in 10 minutes. It's just a video which shows 100 games made in GameMaker in the space of 10 minutes. Link is in the description if you want to watch it. The Glog. The Glog is what the official Yo-Yo Games blog once was. It was started in 2007 when Yo-Yo Games was created, and it kept going until July of 2011 when they revamped everything and got rid of the Glog. Timelines. Do I really have to explain what timelines are? I'm pretty sure everyone knows what timelines are and what they do. I'm pretty sure people use fonts even less than timelines. GameMaker 8 Decompiler. The GameMaker 8 Decompiler was a very famous hacking and extracting tool used to unlock executables and get access to the source code of games. It was so popular among users that there were several add-ons and extensions called anti-decompilers, and believe it or not, even GameMaker Studio talked about how it was harder to decompile than the older versions. Ouch. Execute string. Execute string was a function present on pre-studio versions of GameMaker. With it, you could execute any string as if it were a piece of code. It was removed on GameMaker Studio for security reasons and the fact that the games made with it were compiled into native code, unlike older versions. Yo-Yo Legends. This was a category on the Yo-Yo Games sandbox which regroups the most played games of all time on the website. You could find games like Crime Life 2, Mario Kart 64, Mario Builder, Smash Bros. Rumble, Mario Builder, and Sonic Zone. There's even Crime Life 3 and the classic fan game Sonic FGX. Hello Mario Engines. The Hello Mario engine is a series of Super Mario frameworks made by Hello Fan Gaming, which were infamous for their poor physics and the generic games made with them by Hello and other people. They used to be called the Hello clones back in the day, but now these games have kinda stopped existing as far as I know, and only Hello himself makes these kinda games. But even that is debatable, as he makes 3D games now. Save the Planet competition. Save the Planet competition was a 2008 competition held by Yo-Yo Game, where you had to make a game which addresses environmental issues. There was a prize of $1,000. I don't know who won. F5 and F6 save states. The F5 and F6 buttons were part of a deprecated saving feature that comes with older versions of GameMaker prior to Studio, which saved using save files and was toggleable via a game's preferences from the GM editor. SoftWrap. So SoftWrap was a very hated DRM solution used in earlier versions of GameMaker. It was originally meant to protect Yo-Yo Games' engine from pirates, but just like all other forms of DRM, it hurt the people who were legally buying the software more than the pirates themselves. It had a lot of bugs and was hated by most of the user base. I had personally never heard of this until the Iceberg, despite using GameMaker 8 a lot. GM for Mac. GameMaker for Mac, or GM for Mac, was a spin-off of GameMaker 7, developed to run on Apple's Macintosh machines. It was seriously outdated and was the only solution for Mac users to use GameMaker before the release of GameMaker Studio 2. Yeah, there wasn't a version of neither GameMaker Studio 1 or GameMaker 8 for Mac. High score registry keys. I have no idea what this is about. Maybe GameMaker saves dice scores in the Windows registry. Reverb sound checkbox. When checking the properties of a sound in GameMaker 8 and prior, there is an option to activate reverb in the sound effect. This is gone in Studio as the sound properties window is different. Anemo. Anemo is the name of the very first version of GameMaker, which came out in November of 1999. It was originally going to be a 2D animation software, hence the name. The GameMaker's Apprentice. The GameMaker's Apprentice was an official GameMaker language book written by Mark Overmars. Nothing too remarkable here. Koala BR8. Koala BR8 or BR8, I don't know, is a demo game which comes from the GameMaker's Apprentice book. Treat uninitialized variables as 0. This was a feature that was taken out of GameMaker after GameMaker 8.1, which made it so variables that weren't initialized were treated as 0. Innocuous Hidden Rabbit. The Innocuous Hidden Rabbit is a rabbit that you can find hidden in the 2008 GameMaker game Innocuous. Blobs Online 2 Sentience. Blobs Online was a 2008 MMO made in GameMaker. Can't find anything about Sentience for a sequel though. I'm sure it's just a regular Iceberg joke. 2013 Skull and Crossbones Vandalization. Now this was something I didn't know for the longest time until I just checked recently again. So basically the 2013 Skull and Crossbones Vandalization was because GameMaker's shitty SoftWrap DRM went berserk, and the skull symbol was placed permanently across any sprite that was added into the GM sprite editor. The head of development even tried to argue that it was necessary if the company was to continue developing the tools. This is absolute bullshit considering they removed SoftWrap. VCL pipeline. The older versions of GameMaker, before 6, used the VCL pipeline instead of DirectX. Abertay University is Mondo Medicals. I have no idea where this idea even came from. Karoshi 2.0, level 48 alt. Karoshi 2.0 is an interesting game where you have to find various ways to kill yourself. And in level 48 you have to insert any CD into your computer to make it so you can get crushed by a stereo. But apparently there is a version of the game out there that has removed the CD feature, which may be what the alt in the name of this entry is referring to. I'm glad there's an alt because not many computers these days have a disk drive. GameMaker was coded in GML. While this is a funny thing to theorize about, it's obviously wrong. GameMaker was coded in Delphi. Or was it? Removes player heartbeat event. This entry implies that there was a removed player heartbeat event.
It doesn't exist.
November 3rd, 2008. I have no idea what this is. At first, I thought it might have been the release date of GameMaker 8, but no, that was December 22nd, 2009. Through all my research, I haven't been able to find anything. RIP. Actually, never mind about that, I've just found something. Apparently on November 3rd, 2008, the Yo-Yo Games Sandbox passed the 25,000 games threshold thanks to a Maze Game Treasure remix. Yeah, I think that's it. N64 export module. This actually doesn't exist either, but the image for it is a port of the reverse engineered Super Mario 64 PC code to GameMaker Studio 2. Funny enough, the person who created this iceberg is the same person behind that same port. GameMaker 8.2. Okay, as I'm recording this, I'm in hiding. I've found too much information and they're trying to silence me. If I say anything that doesn't sound natural in the next few minutes, that's not me. So GameMaker 8.2 is actually a lost version of GameMaker. They were developing before GameMaker Studio, and it contained the player heartbeat event in the next 64 export module. The reason why it was capped is because Yo-Yo Games feared it would become too powerful, and that the users would not be able to handle it. Shit. Haha, don't worry about it, guys. That was a joke. None of that was real. Don't worry about it.
Help! Did you know that?
Dude, what are you doing? There's literally no "did you know that" segment, because it's the whole video. Just watch the fucking video.
Now you know!
Next time on Kastology.
Whew! That was exhausting. Anyways, thanks for watching the whole video. Well, I assume that you watched the whole video if you're listening to this. And if you haven't, well, that sucks. The video is not that long, it's just 16 minutes, so, yeah.